Talk about like what you have to go through to get into character, like physically and like emotionally, mentally.
Well, obviously I look completely different because I've got this amazing makeup team. Obviously I look so different. I do. I feel so weird. Obviously, I look so different because I've got this amazing makeup team taking care of me and making me look so different. And I actually saw this artwork of what I was going to look like before I shot it, and they were, artists' drawings. And I saw this white-haired woman. She had like grey skin, and she had very pale lilac mauve eyes. And I thought, oh, that's an interesting interpretation. Obviously, they would be casting a blonde, and I've got dark hair, and that's not going to happen. And then I got to set and realised actually they had every intention of making me look that way. The makeup artist Colin Penman, who takes care of me, is an amazing artist, and actually he's got the look down. So it actually only takes 2 hours from start to finish of getting in the chair, getting the makeup done, contact lenses in, and wig. And although to a layman that might seem like a really long time, actually they'll give an actress 2 hours to get ready for a red carpet premiere. It's not actually that long in the great scheme of things. Sometimes my costumes are so elaborate that it'll take kind of 3 people to help me in it, and I'll see it hanging in my trailer, and I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work, and there's tape and whatnot, and things drop off, and there I am trying to be Stammer, who is a very graceful, elegant character, and I'm the bits of me and like plopping off all over the set, and people are kind of handing it to me, so that's a bit mortifying. Simonetta, who does the costumes, was really open to different ideas, and we exchange photos, and I'm playing an alien, I'm playing another species, so I really wanted to make sure that I don't necessarily move like a woman. So I looked at different animals which are quite alien to me, like reptiles and snakes, and I'll move very much on a horizontal, a vertical axis rather than a horizontal one, and things like that. And then the other thing is sometimes an impulse will come up, a natural impulse will come up, and I'll have to kind of put it away because I don't necessarily want all my impulses to be natural. I want them to be a little weird and a little off-kilter because, they have to be organic, but I definitely want my alien to be an alien. And, some of the other actors who play other species, Sensoth, the Indogenes, they are so different physically, whereas I have to do so Trenna, when she's playing Doc Yule, she can use these colloquial sayings, and she kind of all talks like, she's really assimilated, whereas Stammer will speak the American accent as if it is her second language, because I just wanted to make sure that there is a real otherness to her. So it's been really interesting.
There's a conversation that you have with Kenya in one of the last couple episodes where she's communicating the fact that you're so oppressed, and you really turned it on the head and said that data is powerful, and that's something that attracts you to
yes.
him. Now, I guess what I was wondering as I was watching is, well, does she really love him, or doesn't she? Do you have an answer to that yet?
Well, I think that love is a human construct, and so while Stammer might use words like love because she has been taught them by landing on Earth, and that's a word that we use. Maybe it's not a word that they even have in the Castilian language, and a female wolf will go for the top dog, and maybe we will call that love with our human construct, but I don't know if that would be a Castilian word. Maybe she honors him, or maybe she respects him, and maybe that's what she thinks the word love is when you use it. So it's an interesting question.
Women on the Castilian side are subservient, but she seems to have a will. So how is she going to circumvent the rules to get rid of it?
Well, human spirit, well, she's not a human, but spirit is spirit, right? So we can look at all sorts of demographics, racially, gender-wise, that have been oppressed over the years. And, there were times in history when, people thought other races were inferior and that, women were inferior or weaker, and that was just the way it was thought. And we didn't realise that people, were that way because they had been so oppressed and they weren't given an opportunity to be equal. And so, she's now in a brand new world, so it's going to be interesting for her, she would probably have been a proponent of her own repression at the beginning or back in her own culture, but now everything has been turned on her head and she's surrounded by different societies and cultures. She's going to start questioning that. But of course, she was always going to find a way of being her within her own culture, but only in the way that it was allowed. But now she's going to get out of that cage that she was put in, and that's going to be really interesting.
Is that what we can expect from the next season?
Yeah, I think that it was interesting for me because she is a really strong character in the first season, but I don't think she necessarily knows who she is. Because she doesn't really have a true sense of self because she was never able to be herself. So I think that we might see her finding that and making huge mistakes along the way.
We have like 1 more minute.
What have you found to be most kind of enjoyable about playing this character as opposed to some of the other characters?
It was such a strange thing that in playing an alien, it made me re-examine what it means to be human from a whole new perspective, and that was a surprise about playing an alien. Yeah.
In regards to the language, how long did it take you to learn it, or did you just learn certain words from the script?
Well, David Peterson, who made our languages here today, and I have whole scenes in Castathan in the next 3 episodes that I've just read, and I was like, David, you got to get me those MP3 player, recordings ASAP, because I need to get that down. Otherwise, I could have nightmares about that. It brings me out in hives. It's really. You have to learn it, you have to kind of breathe it, and then you have to throw it away, and then you have to kind of give it meaning and colour. But I love doing the language because there's something so formal and rigid about her when she speaks American. She's almost kind of searching for words, and she's a little kind of vulnerable, and but when she speaks her own language, you kind of see the animal that she is really. So I really enjoy doing that.
So are you fluent in?
No. And I mean, it's not like I learned French in school and I was pretty good at it, but I didn't have anyone to practice with and I lost it all. So I can tell you there ain't many people out there that I can talk Castellan to. So it comes and goes.
Well, that's another thing. Like if you were to mess up, who would notice?
Well, actually, Tony said that in the first scene that we ever had. It was a difficult setup, and we kind of finally got everything into place. And I was in the bath actually. It's actually quite difficult, obviously, slipping around in that bath and trying not to ruin my makeup and trying to be graceful and look like a serpent. And I slithered over him and I kind of he said, "Oh no, I've done it wrong." He said, "Jamie, no one's gonna know what the heck you're talking about." And I was like, "But I know." So I stopped. I was like,